what they want to sell or keep or pass on to their heirs. If it's valuable, do they want to insure it? Do they want to help their grandmother clean out the house and find out what she's got and get her ready for the next transition, moving to another place? Maybe there is an estate sale that's needed. And we also have a trust attorney. So it's going to be this kind of weird combination of gem and jewelry appraisals and learning about how to handle your assets in a responsible way and to help your kids be able to have that. And I had the very good fortune of picking up the right phone call and calling to this lady named Gina Watson, and she has just been wonderful in helping us put this show together. She's underwritten so much of it. She's donated this beautiful necklace. She is a GIA certified gemologist. She and her family. If you see the word Winston anywhere in a jewelry store, they're probably related to her. I just found out from my husband Dave, and his brothers and sons and an uncle. And it's a family of really responsible and well-respected jewelers. And we're so delighted to have her here today to talk to us about finding your own hidden treasures.
Great, thank you. I meet all of you and individually meet you. I had an opportunity to talk about, where you're from and what brought you into the gem world. So it's so exciting because, I get it. And I'm going to be all over the place a little bit. But what I want to start with is just how, kind of like my story about hidden treasures. Because I have been working 40 years in the business. I did come from a long line of jewelers in Orange County. My Dutch family came here in '69. And so I am one of the kids that was under the showcase, and I started in my early 20s, married to my husband David. So I've done it all. My estate stores, I had multiple stores, I did the designing, I did all facets of it. But my true love is, now that I'm not in brick and mortar, is my appointment onlys, dealing with the amount of merchandise and families that are stuck because they have boxes and boxes and they come to me and I have to go to their homes and I have to help them kind of shuffle through and figure out what are we going to do with all this. So that's my specialty in this part of my life, and I really enjoy it. So I'm here today to talk to you about this wonderful event that we're holding on the 26th. A lot of these people that are in this expo are going to be there to help you. For instance, Chris Garcella, he's a trust attorney, be able to talk to you and get some good advice. And I'll talk a moment about the different ways that you can go through. You have to be responsible for your family members because they're next in line. They're going to receive all these things that we have in our homes. And through my experience in my office, it's the family members, whether it's the 94-year-old that I have come in that I'm working with that says, Gina, I need money to collect so that I can and have my home caregiver work with me through the remainder of my life. So we were able to go through her boxes, and actually these were pieces that she has been saving when this woman needed the money to actually sell and put into the care of her. Christina is her name. Put into a little private account and just fund that money. As you know, gold has never been higher than it is today, than it is now. It's just phenomenal, you guys. And this is something that we can take advantage of, all of us. I have items, I have hundreds and hundreds of items online. I sell through many different facets that I can offer to you. This gentleman asked me earlier, how do I sell this piece? So my expertise, because I'm a 5-star platinum online seller, and I have lots of tools that I can work with. When we talk about selling jewelry, I'm going to use my expertise and I'm going to guide you. And then you're going to choose which is best for you. Because it's not always just selling for the gold weight. Sometimes you're going to put it into an auction and we're going to try to sell it through an auction. And then sometimes we're going to look at the auction, selling it outright. You're going to consign it to me. And that's how we're going to go that route. But guess what? We always feel like our merchandise is going to be like this great buy and we're going to make all this off of it. It's not always the case. we are now looking at what the market bears, just like real estate. Back in my retail stores, I put my jewelry in there, and when you consign an item to a jewelry store, it's going into their showcase. There's a much better palette now, and it's called the internet. And there's lots of ways that you can sell your own jewelry, or you can hire someone like me to do it, and I'll put it into the right method to sell it and try to get you the best for a fee. Now, online, they're going to charge you anywhere from 25%, and some of these sites are 70%. It's really outrageous, like the Real. And then they lower it every month. So I just want to throw that out at you for a moment, and now I'm going to step back. And I don't know, I think you're all understanding what your own situation is, whether or not you need to look at the closets that are maybe bursting. This expo that we're doing, one of the people that are there, they deal with decluttering. People that come to me, just as yesterday I was a guest appearance at an event, and the lady says to me, this happens 90% of the time. She says, Gina, there's no gold in there. And I said, oh, no, let me look. 90% of the time I pull out a $300 item. And so this was yesterday. So please, when you go in and you go through those boxes, which you've had for 20 years, 30 years, your jewelry, your aunt's precious rings that have been put aside, don't assume that these are not gold. And do not give it to the estate company that comes into your home to sell the items that you're going to be selling at your mother's home or your house when you want to do an estate sale. Pull these items out, have a professional look at them. And I guarantee you'll be a lot happier when you can see that you actually have some smart choices that you can make. So that's it on the sizing down. Some of the things that I've developed is, especially with gemstones, I'm just going to talk about that because I'm so excited. I have thousands of gemstones myself. I'm guilty. And guess what? I hand select things. Sometimes I find a mounting and I put a beautiful stone in there. But you know what I like to put in there? I like to put in there the rubies and the sapphires. What's selling, right? Vibrant colors. As a gemologist, when I do my appraising, I look for what's beautiful. That's what makes me a gemologist, beauty. We want to look at what is really got the refraction, the scintillation, the color. And like I was speaking to a woman today, there she is. And we talked about how you go in and what you do, your specialty is taking big chunks of stone and you carve it. Well, people come to me all the time, they bring me a stone and say, Gina, I need it appraised. Well, if you go to GIA Institute, where I graduated in 2000, they won't touch it. You have to have it cut, have a piece made, have it, and then we can send it to GIA and they'll do that. So a lot of these stones, that's not something I can appraise for you. You know, I was commissioned, I had a very wonderful commission, especially last year. There was a group that hired me, they brought in $100 million worth of alexandrite, all rough, and I had to sit in a little room, and all I had to do was, and we took a piece of the rough, it was all it was a kilo, 100 kilos, I don't know, it was just amazing. We took a piece out, I had it sent to GIA cut the stone, we were able to get a nice certification on it, then we know what we have, like what you have on this ring, this beautiful pendant here that Ellen gave me. Anytime you can get a GIA paper, it's wonderful, if it is worth it. Some stones are not worth having done. They'll just give you an identification on the stone. So sometimes when a client comes and sees me, I say, we need to have it certified. Before I can finish my appraisal, we'll do part 1 now, and then part 2, that diamond, that's sitting in the setting, that apparently has a GIA number on an old appraisal. If you go to my YouTube channel, I would suggest you definitely subscribe because I love talking about all the incidents that happens in my office. One is the sisters that fighting over the mother's diamond. Once again, the mother's diamond, here's a piece of paper, there's a certification. The certification never existed. But the daughter, with the trustee who's sitting here, saying, oh, no, Gina, it's gotta be. I said, well, what we're gonna do is then we'll take the stone out, we'll send it to GIA, we'll let them decide after it's out. So GIA is really good, but don't always assume, folks, that you need to get these papers done. Sometimes you do, especially when it's a beautiful stone. Yes, sir?
How much does it cost to have a stone certified?
Good question. They're all over the board.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger they are, the more money. For instance, the heavier they are, GIA wants more. We're talking about GIA doing a certification. Yeah, I've had $60 I've had per stone, and I've had $160 to $400, depending on how heavy they are. So, but that heavy stone might be really included in just a big stone that really doesn't have the refraction and the scintillation and that gorgeous flash, so we don't do that. But GIA, if you go right online to their website, you'll actually see they have all the prices for you. And they're gonna charge you the same as me. I don't get any different price. The only different, but you do have to ship it there, you have to make an appointment, it's a long ordeal, you do it online.
One question.
Sure.
When you did the 100 kilos,
Yes.
how much did that cost to have that slivered?
That was, GIA did that, the small stone, and I'm trying to remember, because every time I did a shipment, I did several shipments. And this particular shipment, I think, and the funny thing about it is, when I see the rough, this is a good thing for you all to hear, I have to decide what part of the rough I want to have cut. So I look, and it's very hard because they're black. So I take my light, and I get as much as I can in there. Just twinkle it and look at how the shape is elongated, and you know you're gonna get a pear shape, you're gonna get a oval, right? So you try to look and see if you can see any flash of color that's gonna come out. Now this particular group, they were buying these, and they spent a lot of money on the whole ordeal, and they were funding the banks in Europe. And this is a long story, but the mines that they were buying them from, they were in business to make money. And these were not fancy, these were more commercial grade. By the time they were cut, they weren't fabulous stones. But to answer your question, I want to say they were anywhere from $100 bucks. Come back from GIA, but from then, I would send it, before that, I would send it to the cutter, and my cutter in LA would make a view. I would sit with him and I'd say, here's 5 pieces, what do you see? Because sometimes we have to defer to someone, right? And then that's way we know what we can do from there.
Question again.
Sure.
Do you ever get a difference between when you cut the raw stone to a simple, probably it's a slab of some kind, that they actually shine their laser through to get the information and do the other processing versus a final stone? Do you go up or down, or does it stay the same?
Are you talking about the cutting process?
Right, basically, you get 2 evaluations. One, with your sample that comes from the raw stone. Second, the final stone made from the full rock.
Right.
So, do they ever vary, or do they tend to either
They're never
be
the same.
equal or less?
They're never the same, and it's always a surprise. It's a surprise to my cutter, who's been in the business for 50 years, and I've known him for 35, 40 years, and we sit together and we defer upon each other. He defers on me, I defer on him. And together, that's why we look at 5. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It's simple. It's simpler to be conservative on the initial,
I think
so that the person does not invest a huge amount of money.
Totally, you're absolutely right. Always don't emphasize. That's why when we go to sell items, let's talk about auctioning, for instance. What is the value? How do we value your jewelry, right? How do we sell it? Because that's the whole thing. We're going to take and look at, when people come to me, I sort. And that's what we have to do. We have to start at sorting. We have to put your items that are costume jewelry over here. Because costume jewelry can be alloys that are not worth anything, they're brass based, or they can be sterling silver. So sterling silver is worth money. I've done estates that are very big, and people need money quick. or they want more time. I have 2 other examples I just did. One was a 75-year-old, and she had to help her mother in home care. She's been my client for 30 years. Anyway, she says, Gina, it's time, and her safe is that big. And we emptied it. And we came up with $100,000. It's a lot of money. Now, how many of you have, how many of you have sat with your jewelry online? I know I'm guilty. I have a lot online, as I mentioned, and they're sitting there, and I see it's been on there for 300 days. That one's been on there for 600, but I'm busy in life, so I don't care, right? It sits in my safe. But then guess what? 5% CD sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Sell that money, put it away. Your coins right now, gold is so high. It's an absolutely fantastic time, and it makes me happy because that money parked in my safe it's costing me real estate. You know what I mean? In our drawers, it's going to be definitely our children. Those children come in to see me, those adults, they're overburdened. They don't know what the hell to do with it. What am I going to do with all these stones? It's time that we really have to look at how much we have and how much we need. Now, if we're having fun with it, it's our career, I get it. I'm the same way. But there's a lot that I have that I don't need, that I'd rather have to serve.
Quick question. You mentioned gold and coins.
Yes.
Does that include silver dollars
Absolutely.
and all kinds?
I have a wonderful story of a lady that started the, she was in Huntington Beach, her and her family started the, where the concession stands. She was so smart. She saved every silver Morgan. She came in with 5-gallon buckets in her wheelchair. And I cannot tell you how many tens of thousands of dollars I gave her. But that story was like, smart lady. But now, at gold at $2,500 an ounce.
Is it really?
We were happy at 2,000, but now 2,500. I need to get back in my safe. But right now, you need to take advantage of it because I'm paying top dollar and we're going to make you some money. And really, it's time to clean out. So this show that we're doing, you can bring in for your 5 appraisals with your $25 ticket, which is very fair. And let me give you some evaluations that will lead you. Now, let's talk about appraising.
And I failed to mention that Walt Lombardo, who you all know.
Oh my gosh.
He is going to be there. So your 5 items, you can bring some jewelry to Gina, but you can also bring a crystal, an uncut piece of rough that you want either identified or valued. And you can also bring pictures. And Walt will say, okay, look, I see you have a whole bunch of rocks and minerals and gems, and let me make an appointment and I'll come out to your house. So you've got a lot of options here for the gem and mineral and jewelry identification.
Yeah. And bring whatever you want. Like these are examples of gold. Now when I go through gold, you have to remember, gold is all marked 14, 10. They only have a stamp that says 10, 14, 18, 24, 22. They don't, what happened, and I've been around a long time, so I can tell you one curve, what happened is when gold spiked back from $180 an ounce to 330, all of a sudden we realized that the industry has been cheating us all. They've been marking 14 karat when it was only 11 karat. So we would get ourselves in trouble when we go to refine it. So what we have to do is we acid test everything, okay? And this acid testing will tell us how strong the line is. And we do this every day. So we are gonna look at, it diminishes, it's 12 karat. It diminishes. So every time I go and assay, which is basically weekly, never, ever, ever does my assay say your stuff's 14 karat. It's all done mechanically, it's all, because guess what? Everything goes back to bullion. After you give me your gold, I have it assayed, I have it melted, I pay you, and then it goes to bullion. It goes back into the world. The bullion is 24 karat. So we have a very strict regimen to follow. But, so that is how these are going to work. Now these pieces that were brought in today, amazingly, this is not real. So this is something we're going to be able to look at real quickly once we do it. And this is pure gold. This is 24 karat nugget, and this is 14 karat. Now, anything with stones takes away from the fact that the stone is a weight that I can't refine. So the question is, what do I buy for gold and what do I actually buy for auction or for resale, right? Because we all have diamonds, we all have jewelry, and you know, how in the world? So I have to look at it and I have to make an assumption. Now, mind you, I have my own website and I work on platforms depending on where these items I feel they're gonna sell. Now it's a different world now. You're saturated out there. You know, some people say to me, well, Gina, you know, this is, today, somebody said, they bought this on a cruise line for $14,000, and they sent me the picture, and obviously, I've been to 100 customers with the cruise line. You buy it, it's emotional, they're inflated prices. So now we've got to break it down that, you know, we have to sell a piece. And this brings to mind another client. And once again, the color of the stone is it all depends about the color. So I never want to offend you. I'm only going to tell you the truth. You decide. I am not going to, if you don't like it, I get it. It's not for me. You go put it online yourself, maybe go, you know, hold on to it, or give it to your family member. You know, someone that is, you know, emotional about it. And speaking of which, the things that you do keep for your family are more of the emotional things, guys. It's the cameo, it's the pearl, something special. Or mom, you know, you have a diamond ring, and then there's a Rolex. So you have 2 daughters. So I do cataloging. I've learned that I have to do a lot of different things in my field in order to accommodate my clients. So I do something called cataloging. So if you have an estate, like so many of my people do, they do not want, they want to wear the jewelry. So I catalog it, it goes into your trust book, and there's a wholesale price in there, so you understand what the sale is going to be to sell it. So the estate, if we pass, they'll understand that that person has a choice to either they want money from the house, the car, or they're going to take it for this value. There's also a value in there for fair market value. So let's talk about fair market value, okay? Fair market value is what I use internet, after your fees that you have to pay on the internet. That's a fair market value. So in other words, the trust and the people that come to me and say, well, Gina, what am I really going to get for this? Okay. Not what it's showing on the internet, because you can pull up that item on the internet and you're going to see it all over the board, depending on the website that is showing it. So the websites, many of them they are $5 sign next to their store. They're going to sell it for a premium. But what is it really selling for? When I appraise jewelry for Jewelers Mutual that I've done for decades, or any of the other insurance companies, I have to think, what is it that you're going to, if you lose this stone or this diamond, how much are they going to pay you? Or me, they're going to call me and say, Gina, replace that. And I have to bill them, and I need to make sure that you're covered. That's the responsibility of a gemologist appraising your item for insurance purposes. Now you're saying, Gina, I want to sell this online. Now we're going to look at a fair market value. So we're going to look at, let's take this piece right here. This is donated to your club. Okay? Has everybody seen this?
Oh, no,
Okay. Do you want to talk about it? Or
Well, Victor and Edith, actually, she didn't donate this to the club.
Oh,
She donated some other items to us, and I was telling her about our event. And she was saying to Liz and I when we went to pick up some things, because her daughter-in-law didn't want this. She says, I don't wear gold. Now, Victor had made this. He crafted the whole piece, cut the stone and everything. For Edith, she was so attached. And her feelings were hurt. You could tell that the daughter-in-law just went, whatever, I don't want this. And I said, well, and she was talking about wanting to go on a cruise, and maybe it was too expensive for her. And I said, well, let me take it to Gina, because she's gonna be coming to the club, and have her evaluate this. Maybe this is gonna be enough that it can give you the trip that you wanna take. So, we're gonna find out.
Yes, we are. Yes. So, this is a very heavy piece. Does everyone, now, how easy would this be online, would you think, for you to find a buyer? Anybody want to take a stab at it? What do you think?
Easy.
Out of all of you here, would you pay $3,000? Would you pay that?
Citrine?
It's a citrine. No, it's a topaz, but it's a citrine color, you're right.
And it has the GIA certificate.
Oh, and is it gold? Is there
It's
gold
gold.
around it?
It's gold.
We gotta know what it's
And
about.
it's 20 grams,
Okay.
20 grams. So, when we look, so the first thing we look at is how sellable is this item? It's actually genuine, it's got good weight to it. So, wow, that says a lot right there, the weight. So that weight alone, when we look at that, and it's 14 karat, the weight alone of this is around $700 in gold. Okay, so now we have to look at the stone. Now the stone looks like a citrine. It does have a certification, but the thing is that would we have gotten this certified? Probably I wouldn't have spent, because this is a 20 karat stone. So this 20 karat stone probably cost them $500 to have it done. So that's one of those instances I would not have had it done, because it probably would have been, I would look for something more rare that I think is going to be a little bit more sellable. So once again, my colleagues that have been in business 50 years as well, they have decided that the price on this in auction at this time would probably bring around $2,000. So that's what we would take it and try to find the $2,000, okay? So that's what I would say on that. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is, these are some samples of some gemstones that I'm doing for a client. She bought them from some gentleman that was selling gemstones, and she bought trays of them. And so she says, Gina, what am I gonna do with these stones? And I said, I'd like to sell mine. So, and I know from everyone in my industry, I'll pass these around, they're kind of fun. And you can go ahead, and this is something you might want to consider with some of your stones if you have. They make nice necklaces, and it's a good way. You can turn them into earrings, you can turn them into bracelets. Keep in mind though, most of your stones are uncalibrated. So we all know what that means, uncalibrated?
No.
No? Oh, goodness. Remember when you buy stones, make sure they're calibrated. You'll save money. Because stones that are calibrated are easy for you to find the settings, pre-made settings. If they're not calibrated, you have to make the settings, right? Where's our other designer? That girl?
Terry.
Oh, there she is. Yep. She can go look in her book and see that the stone is calibrated, so she can put the stone in there. So when you go to that Tucson show every year, does everybody have a gauge?
Okay.
No? No? Okay, I want you to get a gauge, and I want you to get your millimeter gauge out and make sure you do not just lengthwise width, but also depth. Because what happens is sometimes these stones are very heavy and deep. They will not fit into that calibrated stone because they're too deep. And too deep of a stone means that you have to make it. So guess what? These that I'm passing around, these are uncalibrated. This lady thought she got a great deal. Now she's got to spend $2,200 to make a necklace. They're not available in sterling silver, they're only available in gold. So she's got to buy it in gold, and she can make 3 suites. They're really pretty. Do you like those? Kind of a nice idea, isn't it? I thought so. So I think.
So what do you calibrate it to for a show or the depth?
Well, what I would do is I would have a little booklet with me from Quality Gold or Stellar or one of your finding companies that already, it's like a little paperback. Open it up and see what it'll tell you the calibration that's available of that head. If it's a 6x4, it'll say the depth. So if you have some of these stones, be careful because like emeralds, you know they're not cut symmetrical. They're cut so that we can get the best light reflection that will give you the best color of that emerald, right? So this emerald that's here, this is big cut. It's very clear. I would call this it's an emerald, but we would call this, I'm sorry, I said it earlier, now I'm forgetting this is a beryl, thank you, thank you, thank you. So beryl quality isn't something we would call emerald quality in art. We would call it a beryl because it's so light. And also keep in mind too, folks, of the table, that you can see right through it, right? Because if you see right through a stone, that means you're setting that it sits in. You're gonna see the finger, you're gonna see all these gold wires, and they're not pretty. So this one here is beautiful because you can, it's showing the faceting. Whereas this green one is really pretty, but you need to have a closed backing on it, just a closed backing. It's a really pretty stone, and it's very clean. It's hard to find a clean emerald, because they're the most faceted, they're the most included stones. They're a class 3 stone.
They're soft, right?
Extremely soft.
Yeah.
And you know the rules of what not to clean and what to clean. Red, white, and blue, you can always clean in your cleaner. Red, white, and blue. Think of the flag. Red, white, and blue. You can put it in your cleaners. I'm talking emeralds, rubies, sapphires, and diamonds.
Not turquoise.
Not turquoise, not anything, everything else think as porous. Don't put it in any solutions. You can use a little Dawn soap and water in a little non-dissolving cup and just wash it, rinse it, and that's it. And if you have a steamer, you can steam it. But be careful from hot to cold, like tanzanite will crack. Tanzanite will crack. We've lost stones with our jewelers that were inexperienced, and we had to learn a hard lesson back when I was young. Way back. You get a jeweler in there and you're not watching, and all of a sudden the tanzanite goes in the hot ultrasonic and they take it out and throw it under the cold water, gone. So, yeah, kunzite, zoisite, be careful of those stones. Anybody have questions, sir? Oh, go ahead.
I have 2 questions. I have taken gold and silver to a gentleman to sell, and he has a machine that he claims is worth $20,000. And he puts my silver and my gold in the machine. He closes down the lid, and he has a computer attached to the machine, and it tells how much silver I have in there, and how much gold I have in there, and what carat it is. Do you have that machine?
No, I don't. I'm the old-fashioned girl.
And also, is it wiser to sell your piece as a whole piece or scrap it out for the price of the gold?
It's a good question. It all depends on what I see. If it's something that I see as sellable, it's going into the bucket for auctions. And I would recommend it.
It's a good piece of jewelry that somebody might like.
Yes,
If
absolutely.
it's not, then you scrap it.
Yeah, now keep in mind, a lot of these stones, they have to be broken out of there. And that's another thing you have to remember. The stones inside semi-precious, they get broken. So they get hammered out a lot of times, and they cost money to take them out. So if you want those stones back, especially if they're diamonds, we can get them out, but sometimes you have to pay a fee. Or sometimes when we go and put this stone on there, and some of your pieces, we just weigh it with it. We have to estimate that this is probably, a half a gram. So we know from experience, and that's what we go by. Yep. And also, that there's a lot of lab diamonds now. Everybody knows lab diamonds are saturating the market, and you cannot buy anything without testing it. And you can't buy it and you can't sell it without testing it. Well, you can buy it from me, but because I already know if I'm selling you lab or not. But you have to be careful with that. You had a question, sir?
I guess one of the things here is one, are there any places that will basically have a wider variety of the setting cavities. Where you can actually take something that's like this. How hard is it to take something that's, not calibrated and fit it into something of the next size? Or is that too much?
Impossible.
Okay.
Yeah, impossible. You'll make the setting look funny. They have a basket narrows down, they put the stone in there. You're gonna have it lopsided. It has to fit so it's beautiful. The whole idea about jewelry is it has to come together.
Okay, next question. How much does it cost to have, shall we say, if that was an
Then have-
uncalibrated stone, how much to have a custom set?
That's a great idea. Probably $100 for the setting, if it was calibrated.
No, what if it's not calibrated?
calibrated,
You have a custom,
$200.
if you like the stone.
And it depends on the gold market, but basically, you have to pay for a CAD to be done. A CAD is, this is what we do. A CAD is a design, what they do is, it's a method. I had my store set up. So what we did is, I have a program, and my designer will sit there and take that stone and measure it into the machine, into the computer. And then it spits out a CAD that we approve, and we say yes. Then we push the button and it goes out to a wax company. You're paying for the designer, you're paying for the wax guy, because he has to make a mold, or he has to make the
Okay, so you
wax.
use a mold process.
It's not the mold, it's just the wax, and then it goes to cast into the gold. So
Okay,
there's
so it's
three
like,
methods.
what type of cast is it?
Gold, let's say it's
No, but what type of, what's the cast material?
gold.
No, the material that
It's
is.
wax.
It's wax, so it's wax.
Wax.
Okay.
To gold.
Anybody do 3D printing in gold?
This is all 3D printed.
Okay, but not in
It's-
gold.
It's all 3D. So it's either gold.
Okay, so 3D printing is not a gold.
Well, we would, in mine, we have the program, it goes to the wax guy.
Okay.
And then from the wax guy, it goes to the
3D
casting.
printing? Okay.
Now, I did 3D printing, but see, after I spent $50,000 on a machine and tried to do it all in my Lisa Vieja store because that's who I am, I decided I'd get smart and just ship it out to my LA guys and let them do it. And for $100 I was paying.
They do it all the time.
So I don't care how they do it, as long as my product looks good. And I don't ask them their business. And I did all that, I bought all the machines, I never want to hear those words again. Thank you very much. 3D printing, forget it. So I don't care about the technicalities, what I care about is the beautiful piece. I'm working on pieces right now, their job is to send me a CAD, I want to see what it looks like, I need to see how it's
I understand
gonna,
that.
everything, and then from there, give me the
But
piece.
it's a very reasonable price if you like the stone.
Yeah, well, look at the one I just showed you, that they're selling those for $2,200 each, those 3 pieces, these. To CAD all these, this is gonna give you an idea, this is the resale on this.
So you have to have a setting for each one
My
of those.
cost, I think my profit on these are $600 each, for my time, labor, and setup. Now, that's inexpensive for me. Typically, if you go to a nice jewelry store in the mall, they'll add another 1,000 onto this, it'll be 3,300. So,
Well, they won't even do it custom though. I mean, they'll have to put in something else.
yeah, exactly, so. Questions, sir?
Just on the assay, how much, if you take your gold to the assay, what's your loss? What are they charging you for taking your
It's a
14
good
carats and
question.
all that?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So the process when you sell your gold to us, we have to, we're doing as close as we can with you, and we have to sweat bullets because today gold's at 2,500, it might go down $100, and I'm making 20%, and that's marginal because I've seen it go down $200, and then I'm like, oh geez. So then I get there and I have to pay for parking, my runner, and I have to carry a kilo in sometimes of gold. So my insurance is at, I have to add that in there. Forget all that, that's my business. Now, simply, how much am I paying for assay? Assay runs $120. And you sit there and you go to the place where it's the most where you worked with someone for 30 years. That's the end of the story. Then from there, you know, you carry your gun, you make sure you're safe, you got your whole, you know, Montreal going here. Then you go and you cash it in. And believe it or not, the assay, it's quite interesting, the assay, because everybody's looking at, and the guy that pays me has been with us for 34 years. We trust him, we all go to him, but he's like, you know what, sometimes the assay, he's a little unsure. How close is it? So he divided 1%. And I'm like, you know what, I don't like that. And then finally, at the end of the day, everyone was doing slippery things. I went back to the 1%, I'm okay. Because you know, at the end of the day, it's really difficult to land it sometimes. So it's okay, everybody has to make their money, they gotta figure it out, you know, that's the way I feel about it.
So you're safer with your 1% guy than the sticky fingers at other places.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
'Cause it's scary out there.
Oh, it is, and trust me, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And the places that I go in now, mind you, if you have $100,000, I'll walk you in and you can give me a commission. Because I don't like carrying 100,000, I do it all the time, but that way I don't have to answer to you, and you can be happy, and I'm happy, and you know all about me, but you know, I don't care. So, but the places I go into, they get a good amount, and that good amount is where I can turn it on to you, and I can try to stay within a good figure where we're both happy, but no one can get into those doors.
Yep.
No.
They don't have a big sign outside that says gold.
No.
No.
No. And same with gold, coins, if you have gold coins, folks, man, I just did 2 packages, one for $250 and one for, and this person that did $150 or whatever it was, this is a great story. They've been holding it for 40 years, they bought it for $10,000. And they sold it for it was either the 140 or the 240, I don't know, but that was a great.
Wow.
And it was the heir, it wasn't the parents. And the parents need the money. They do, 8% inflation last year. Everybody needs the money. That's a real hit. So, I mean, if you go through your boxes, your jewelry, the hidden stuff, trust me. And if there's a diamond, like I'm doing a pair of earrings, stud earrings, they're a little brown, they're big. It's a funny thing, diamond stud earrings, she's in Palace Beauty, she's been my client forever. And, you know, she trusts me, and so she gave me a lot of her things, and I'm like, oh God, you know, here's these diamond studs, you know, and they're brown, and they're big, and like, you know, how do you tell your wonderful client, oh God, you know, but nobody wanted them. I couldn't get them sold. So finally, in the meantime, she's like, Gina, I need this made, I need that made. I said, okay, and I'm looking at those damn earrings in my safe going, oh geez, how am I gonna break the news? So she's busy with her mother-in-law and all this other stuff. So finally, we get down to the earrings and we're there now, thank God. I can get rid of them. So we're putting them into auction, they're going for $1,800. That's the reserve. Now we put a reserve in, and then we're gonna see where it goes, but that depends on the market. We get as close as we can, we're all gemologists, we do fair shakes so the client knows what we have, what they're gonna buy. But, so don't be surprised on your diamonds, folks. I have to say diamonds, because of saturation of lab diamonds, they really hurt the market on our diamonds, okay? Our diamonds are no longer, I have 1 carat diamonds, VS2, VBSD color. I used to sell them for $10,000 each. I can't get rid of them.
Wow.
So if you know anybody that's getting married or engaged, you have to call me, because I got a lot of those.
What are they?
Well, there you go. Call me. I'll sell them to you.
I know, I mean, what is a lab?
Oh, lab diamonds? You don't know about lab diamonds? Oh my gosh. They're CVD diamonds. We were scared to death when we heard about them coming into the industry. I was younger, And all of a sudden we hear that one day he's gonna have these lab diamonds come in and they're gonna be undetectable. And we're all like, what are we gonna do? This is terrible, you know, how are we gonna stay in business? What's gonna happen? Well, they came. And so first moissanite came, moissanite diamonds, you all heard that, okay? Now we have CBD diamonds. Those are chemical vapor something. Go to my YouTube and you'll hear about it. I did 3 videos, one on moissanite and diamond, one on lab diamonds and diamonds, telling them apart from each other. And they're really interesting. But this is an undetectable diamond. They're exactly the same composition of a real diamond. They're only made above the earth. Diamonds are made below the earth. Same exact thing. It's unbelievable. The only difference is that they've had to laser inscribe them. But guess what? You got the guys out there erasing the laser and selling it as real diamonds. So my machine is worth tens of thousands of dollars, and I put my money into my diamond tester because I don't want to be tricked. I deal with Harry Winston clients that give me their $200,000 diamond. That diamond is not leaving my site. I'm having it tested before they leave it with me. I test it for their security, for mine, and when it goes back to them. So, you know, that is where I put my money into. Yes, sir.
If they're indistinguishable, how do you test it?
Very good. Through the testing machine. That's it.
What does the testing machine do?
Test it. Tells me. Tells me.
I mean, what's it looking at, the crystal structure or the composition
Well,
or?
that's a good question. It's once again getting back to that
It's a
the
certain-
printing.
It's a certain fluorescent that's in there
Is
that
what it
shows
is?
up,
Okay.
that you can tell. It lights up inside the stone, and if it turns blue, it's the HPHT, high pressure, high temperature is the other
Yep.
version. And it's
Vapor.
only detected by a machine and not all the machines. So you gotta step up to, like she said, the highest machine to get to it, because
Yeah.
there's other ones that will give you a close thing, but
It's scary.
you wanna make sure you got the right one.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, folks, when you buy the lab diamond and you want to go resell it, like diamond stud earrings, I would tell you, diamond stud earrings. Like a lot of my clients, some of them are very wealthy, and they're like, Gina, I want some diamond stud. Well, I like selling 3 and 3. I think they're really pretty on women. 3 carats and 3 carats. It's 6 carats. So guess what? I like selling them. I think they look really pretty. They look pretty on you. Not 2 nice big earrings. Well, they cost around $10,000, right? Those diamonds would cost typically in some of my jewelry store friends, they sell them for $16,000. But I like to hand select them because I'm pretty picky as a gemologist. So even those diamonds, lab diamonds, I like to get the best because they're all different. So I like to get them where everything is perfectly the way a gemologist would say these are beautiful. Color, quality, cut, excellent, no fluorescence. This is another lesson. You listen to the YouTube channels when we talk about diamonds. But anyway, those diamonds, you cannot resell those folks back to the market. That's what we're getting to.
Yeah.
They're not going to be easy to resell. People call me all day long, can you buy my lab diamonds? And I have to say no. Because I don't know what's going to happen. Those diamonds they're getting lesser and lesser, and who knows? So, yes.
I had a man one time tell me that the only way you can 1000% guarantee that it's a diamond is to watch him pull it out of the ground, and walk to the cutter, watch him cut it.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can be 1000% sure.
Here's another one.
That's a little far-fetched though.
Here's another one for you, and you probably know this, and this has a lot to do with your gemology, because all you folks like the rough, you're buying the rough. You do know that most of the time, and I might be wrong, but this is what I know, and you are a cutter, it's 50% that you end up with the final result. So you probably all know that, right? So you get your rough and you cut it. So that's what it is for our diamonds. In our diamonds, we cut a rough. It's a 50, like recently they found the biggest one in history was 2,200 carats. They could cut that to 1,200 carats if it's going to be a whole diamond. Yeah. Yes,
Just out of curiosity, how much less are lab diamonds than diamonds?
90%. It all depends on the quality. Because I've seen some real doggy stones out there that aren't pretty, and they sell those as a promo to others that they finally get to that are beautiful. So when I pick them out, nice 3 and 3 or 2 and 2 and 1 and 1, they want to match, keep color DEF, which is near colorless. You want to go high. Always go, here's another little tip. On your diamonds, always try to go as high color as you can. Sacrifice a little of the quality, but don't try not to compromise on the color. Color is white. Keep the color white. As soon as you go into yellow or gray, they don't look as pretty. They don't stay as white and shiny, especially when they get dirty or you touch them with your fingers. So, and also have your jewelry checked. I know you're looking at your ring. Do that. You can see my business here. My appointment only, by the way, in Laguna Hills. My office is there. People see me all the time. So you can come in and see me, call, I design. I am wonderful at getting back and setting appointments. And I set them up. I'm going on vacation with my husband next week, my husband David, of 44 years. And, but I'll be back in office on October 1st. Yeah, 44 years I have, I have daughters and 4 grandboys. But it's working that I love. So this has been my career my whole life. Actually, when I married my husband back, I was only 21, and by 22, I'd already been buying and selling. He goes, Gina, you gotta open up a store. So he gave me all his inherited money that his grandfather gave him, some stock. It was worth $10,000. And so he says, take it. I said, oh my God, no. I said, okay. So I got some showcases, I cleaned them, I put some chandeliers on the wall, and I started my own buy and sell shop at 22. No. So that was my story. So anyway, thanks for having me, everyone. You're welcome. Bring in gold.
Now, did people bring samples? Would you like to assess some pieces if they brought it in?
Oh, anything. Yeah, if they want me to look at something right now.
Yeah, just if you're marking.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And don't forget, we've got the raffle for the diamond necklace, which will be auction revealed on the 26th. Please come, sign up for the 26th on our website. And if you haven't bought